What if I told you that the harder you try, the further away you push what you desire? What if the true secret for the universe to obey your wishes is not in doing more, but in letting go, stopping trying, and simply being? This is not a mental trick, nor a philosophical paradox. It is an ancient law, veiled within the folds of Hermeticism, Eastern mysticism, and esoteric wisdom, the reverse law. For centuries, seekers of truth have walked paths filled with effort, discipline, and iron-willed determination. But the sages, the true alchemists of the soul, whispered another secret, that in surrender lies true power, that the act of ceasing pursuit is itself a sign of faith so profound, so powerful, that the universe cannot help but respond. Perhaps you have already noticed it in your own life. You desired something with all your might, and it did not happen. You let it go, and suddenly, as if by magic, it appeared. Coincidence? Luck? Or an unwritten law operating in silence from the depths of the quantum and spiritual field? In this video, we will immerse ourselves in one of the most counterintuitive and revolutionary principles of spiritual manifestation, the reverse law. We will explore how stopping trying does not mean giving up, but aligning. We will see how this ancient truth appears in the teachings of Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, and even in modern experiments of quantum physics. I will reveal why striving too hard creates vibrational resistance, how unbridled desire blocks reception, and how detachment is, paradoxically, the key that unlocks everything. Prepare yourself to dismantle everything you believed about attraction, effort, and the power of manifesting. Because on this journey, you will understand that sometimes doing less is what truly changes everything. The reverse law is not about passivity or apathy. It is about alignment. The difference between acting from fear and acting from trust is subtle, but it changes everything. When you act because you feel you must to obtain something, you emit vibration of lack. When you act because you are inspired, guided, and attuned, you emit abundance. Think of it this way. The universe is like a mirror. If you stand before the mirror and smile, the reflection smiles. But if you try to make the reflection smile first, without changing your expression, you enter useless conflict. That is the paradox of the reverse law. You do not obtain what you desire by fighting, but by becoming who already has it. Are you ready to discover the secret that transforms your reality without moving a single finger? The idea that stopping trying is more effective than forcing willpower is ancient, appearing in esoteric schools of Egypt, temples of the Far East, and mystical texts of the West. This reverse law is a profound principle repeating throughout humanity's oldest and most powerful teachings. The Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu over 2,500 years ago, speaks of Wu Wei, non-action, or action without effort. Not passivity, but acting in harmony with the universe's natural flow, without forcing or resisting. By not doing, nothing remains undone, affirms the Tao. This phrase is the heart of the reverse law. In Buddhist tradition, Buddha taught that suffering arises from insatiable desire, and only by ceasing to desire is liberation achieved. Detachment is not renouncing the world, but releasing clinging to results. By releasing compulsive desire, we enter acceptance's frequency, and precisely then, what we desire has permission to manifest. In Hermeticism, we find, as above, so below, as within, so without. External reality reflects our internal state. If internally we are tense and desperate, The universe reflects that vibration. Lack, struggle, frustration. If we are at peace, in faith and trust, external conditions align with that state. It is not about pushing, but tuning ourselves. Jesus taught similarly. When he said, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you," he spoke of aligning first with the source, with higher consciousness. He spoke of an internal spiritual focus and being in the correct state, so manifestation can flow from there. In Egyptian mystery schools, silence, stillness, and meditation were central practices. The initiate did not seek to dominate reality from intellect, but from alignment with cosmic laws. The true magician did not order the universe with shouts, but with vibration. Modern quantum physics reveals similar truth. Experiments show reality behaves according to the observer's expectation, but active mental interference can collapse a particle's potential prematurely. This reinforces what sages said for millennia. The universe does not respond to force, but to frequency. From multiple cultures, religions, and sciences emerges one principle. Excessive effort signals disconnection. True creation is not born from fear of not having, but from trust that it already is. In that space of serenity, receptivity, and alignment, the universe listens. Imagine yourself facing a tranquil lake. You throw a stone and instantly the surface agitates, creating waves in all directions. Now think of your mind as that lake. When you are anxious, impatient, or desperate for a result, it is as if you were constantly throwing stones without allowing the water to return to calm. The reverse law invites us to stop throwing stones and trust in stillness. Only in that state of serenity does the reflection form with clarity. This law defies everything we have been taught. Work hard, fight for what you want, never give up. But the reverse law reveals a counterintuitive truth. The more you stop trying to force things, the more easily they manifest. This does not mean falling into laziness. It is not inaction, but alignment. The difference between acting from fear and acting from trust is subtle, but changes everything. When you act from fear of not obtaining something, you emit vibration of lack. When you act from inspiration and attunement, you emit abundance. Think of it this way. The universe is like a mirror. If you smile, the reflection smiles. But if you try to make the reflection smile first, without changing your expression, you enter useless conflict. You do not obtain what you desire by fighting, but by becoming who already has it. Consider a flower. Have you ever seen it strain to bloom? Does it worry or strategize to open its petals? The flower simply opens when ready, in harmony with sun, earth, water, and time. The universe does not function by force. It functions by synchrony. When you desire something and obsessively cling to its obtainment, when will it arrive? Why not now? You send a clear signal. This is not here. This is difficult. I lack this. But when you release, trust, and act from inner fullness, magic occurs. The reverse law rewards you. How do we recognize when we act from effort versus from alignment? First, effort hurts while alignment flows. If each step feels like a struggle, you are swimming against the current. When aligned with your highest intention, paths open without friction. Coincidences multiply. Second, effort seeks control while alignment permits receiving. When you try controlling all details, you operate from ego and fear. When you allow, you receive more than imagined. Third, effort creates anxiety, while alignment generates peace. Are you restless and watching the clock? Or are you at peace, knowing divine time will handle it? Peace signals correct frequency alignment and deepest trust. Throughout history, sages have repeated that the greatest power emerges when we learn to empty ourselves. "Empty your cup," said the Zen master. "Die before dying," proclaimed Sufi mystics. In all these expressions lies the same teaching. When you release the need, the universe becomes your ally. The reverse law revolves around this principle. Power activates in detachment. When you free yourself from "I must," "I should," "I need this to work," you access the creative void where the universe's infinite possibilities align in your favor. It seems contradictory. How can something so powerful be born from surrender? But here is the secret. It is not surrendering to defeat, but to the universe's wisdom. Control is an illusion. When you release the steering wheel, you do not sink, you rise. Observe nature. The river does not push water. Gravity does not struggle. The sun does not fight to shine. Everything occurs with perfect precision, without needing to struggle. The reverse law asks us to imitate this natural dance. Stop forcing results and begin embodying the vibration of what you desire, as if it were already part of you. This leads to one of the most fascinating elements of this law, the principle of energetic inversion. The more you desire something from emotional emptiness, the more you push it away. But when you release it with love and certainty, it begins approaching. Not because the universe wants to play with you, but because you are vibrating in harmony with it. One way to understand this is through the quantum field in modern physics. Scientists have begun understanding that the universe responds to the observer's consciousness, but it does not respond to anxiety. It responds to coherence. When someone is at peace, aligned, and visualizes their reality from internal conviction, not from lack, that reality begins taking form. The problem is many people believe they are manifesting when they are actually pleading. They repeat affirmations with trembling voices and visualize with a knot in their stomach. They believe they use the law of attraction, but do so from fear, from scarcity. That vibration is incompatible with abundance. The reverse law is an invitation to live from radical trust, to recognize that you already are what you seek. You do not need convincing the universe, only reminding it who you are. When you become that living memory of your truth, the universe responds in echo. When you understand this deeply, everything changes. Your manifestation becomes effortless. Until now, we have deciphered the deep principles of the reverse law and understood its esoteric foundation. But how do we translate this into daily life? How do we embody this wisdom amid the chaos of the modern world? Here is where true alchemy begins, when theory becomes flesh, emotion, and experience. First, reprogram your internal language. Observe the language with which you speak to yourself. Do you constantly say, "I need," "I hope," "I wish"? These expressions arise from lack. Change that dialogue for one of certainty. Do not say, "I hope it arrives." Say, "I know it is arriving." This language shift shapes your vibration and therefore your reality. Second, create a daily surrender practice. Each morning, take minutes to let go. Close your eyes and visualize all your desires, goals, and worries as balloons in your hands. Release them one by one, Watch them rise. Feel the lightness. Then affirm, I trust. I do not need to force anything. Everything that is for me comes to me. Third, act from inspiration, not obligation. Make a list of daily tasks. Instead of rushing from fear, stop and ask yourself, what inspires me today? What flows with ease? The reverse law invites you to follow your energy's current. When you do something with enthusiasm, you vibrate high. When you do it with angst, you close the channel. Fourth, practice Wu Wei in your decisions. In complex situations where you do not know what to do not decide from fear or urgency. Breathe, wait, allow the right moment to arrive. Sometimes the best action is not acting yet. The universe places pieces when you permit the space. Fifth, visualize from identity, not desire. Do not visualize what you want to have. Visualize who you are when you already have it. Instead of seeing yourself desiring health, see yourself healthy, vibrant, radiant. The subconscious mind responds to identity, not desire. Live as if you were already that being. Sixth, embrace the void as part of the process. When it seems nothing occurs, when there is silence or delay, do not panic. That void is not negation. It is the echo preceding creation. It is incubation. Trust it. Fill it with presence and gratitude. Everything visible is born first in the invisible. Seventh, make gratitude your quantum anchor. Gratitude is the emotion that most rapidly elevates your frequency. But do not only thank what you already have. Thank also what is coming, as if it had already arrived. Gratitude converts time into a direct bridge to miracle. In a world obsessed with doing, with ceaseless effort and relentless ambition, speaking of surrender and not trying sounds almost like heresy. But there lies precisely the secret that sages of all times have known and transmitted in whispers. The reverse law is not a logical contradiction, but a spiritual revelation. It is a hidden door among the rubble of mental noise, a direct path toward conscious co-creation with the universe. We have seen that this law, far from being a simple "let things happen," is an inner alchemy, demanding emotional mastery, clarity of intention, and absolute trust. It is not passivity. It is wisdom in action. It is not resignation. It is communion with a higher intelligence. When we stop trying with anxiety, we begin manifesting with fluidity. When we stop running, life catches up with us. On your spiritual path, understanding and applying this law can mark a before and after. It can be the difference between a life of struggle and one of magic. But remember, this is not knowledge to memorize, but one to live. Each day, each decision, each thought is an opportunity to choose. Will I force or will I trust? Will I push or will I flow? The reverse law invites you to become a channel, not a barrier. To allow life to live you instead of you trying to control it. To be like water, flexible, powerful, inevitable. This is true spirituality, not the one seeking to dominate the external world, but the one conquering the internal world. From there, it transforms reality. Imagine a world where each human being lived from this principle. A world where instead of anxiety, there was presence. Instead of scarcity, natural abundance. That world is not utopian. It is possible. And it begins with you. So now I ask you, are you ready to release effort and activate your true manifestation? Are you willing to trust so deeply that the universe has no choice but to obey your vibration. If this teaching resonated with you, if something in your soul felt that this truth is older than words themselves, then take a step further. Subscribe to continue exploring the mysteries of the soul and the laws of the hidden universe. Give like if this video inspired or revealed something new. Share it with fellow seekers ready to discover that true power is not in doing, but in being. And remember, when you stop pursuing the universe begins following you. This is the reverse law. This is the secret that transforms reality without moving a single finger. This is the path of the true magician of the soul.